beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I am Jamila and I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks for how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely love if you would consider subscribing and joining the fam. Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a review of the new Blend Bunny Cosmetics Noctilucent Highlighter Palette. Okay, so this was gifted to me by the brand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a little bit of product details. And then I want to do some comparisons to the face powders or whatever it's called in the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3. And then I also want to do some face applications so you can see what this looks like on my skin tone. So for product details, I'll just quickly say that it comes in a box that has the exact same imagery at the front. However, on the back you'll see that there are ingredients on the box and the shade names on the palette itself. Now this does have 6 highlighters, so you'll see all 6 here. There is some staining in these because I've been using them all week and I've come to realize that my foundation or powder, it stains it, so we'll get into that. But there is some staining here, so these are all technically white powders with the exception of this one that's very clearly pink. Now on the website, Blend Bunny describes this as, or it really just says Noctilucent is here. 6 gorgeous shades to suit all skin tones as a stunning sparkly highlighter or as a gorgeous eye look topper. Translucent base means zero white cast with lots of colorful sparkle to be used in any way you can dream up. So this does retail for $40 and it is currently available if you are interested in purchasing it. Now the palette does also include a mirror if that is something of importance to you. So again, here are all 6 of the highlighter shades up close. Now you can't really tell until you start moving it around because up close these all look pretty white, but once you start shifting them you start to see the different colors in each of them. You start to see the blues and the greens and the gold. Like you can see the pink and the blue and the pink and the purple here. This one is gold, this one is green, this one is blue. So once you start shifting it from side to side you can really see the different shifts there. So let's just dive into some arm swatches first and then I will start to apply it on my face. So I'm gonna swatch the first row. So these are the first 3 shades in that top row. We have Far Out, Phenema, Dreamlike. You can see how very, very shiny this is. Now these are also very creamy, unlike a lot of other highlighters that I have that tend to be more powdery. These have a very creamy texture. And here we have the bottom row. Enlighten, Transient, Apparition. There we go. And you can kind of really see the different shifts here. So even though it looks really white in the pan, you can see the blues, the greens, the golds, the pinks, the purples. Let me hold the palette up next to it so you can really see the shades together. There we go. So now that we've swatched the palette, I'm going to go ahead, wipe these swatches off, and then I'll bring you guys in a little bit closer because I'm going to apply each shade to, one side of my cheek so you can see how it looks applied. For what I'm wearing on my face, I know I look a little crazy right now because I don't have any bronzer or anything else and it's just foundation. I'm wearing the Bite Beauty Changemaker foundation in shade D150, and that's all I have all over my face. I didn't do any concealer, I didn't do any bronzer, blush, none of that. It's just that. Okay, for application, I'm gonna go in with this Chic Pro highlighter brush. I got this at Five Below, and it's pretty dense, which I think will work better with this formula because I've been using more fluffy brushes, and because this is a more creamy texture, it doesn't pick up quite well. So I'm hoping that this, because it's a little bit denser, it will pick up and apply well. I also have my color switch here that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. I will be using this to clean off the brush between shades so there's no cross-contamination. Okay, now let's bring you guys in a little bit closer and we'll get started with cheeks. Cheeks, baby, cheeks. Okay, so the first shade I'm going to go in with is Far Out. So I'm just going to dip that brush in there. And then I'm going to apply it to the high points of my face here. Coming closer. I'm gonna over exaggerate my application so you can really see what this looks like. There we go. Alright, so I'm gonna go into Finema. And you can see the staining that is happening when I dip my brush into these from my foundation and my face powders, which are obviously brown, going into these shades. So I'm taking Finema and I'm applying that.
You had real privileges for this. All snap. Now you getting time out. Cause you hit it where my heart's at. Got me going deeper than Amari when that ball snap. Heard you sold your soul on Macari, got you called Lackey.
So on this side we have Finema, and on this side we have Far Out. Now I want to try to take down the exposure just a little bit to see if you guys can better see the shifts on this. Okay, so this is as low as I think I can get it. I am not a camera expert, so I'm doing my best. So again, here we have Finema on this side, and here we have Far Out. So I hope you guys can see the difference in these two shades. Now you may not be able to see it, but in my opinion, it is a little bit glittery, but we'll come back to that. Okay, I'm gonna go wipe both of these off, and then I'll do the other shades. So next up we have Dreamlike. Now this is the deepest shade in this palette, and I'm very curious about this one. This is I think the only one that I haven't put on my face. No, one of 3 I haven't put on my face yet. So here we have Dreamlike. Cleaned off my brush, and I'm gonna go into Enlighten. And Enlighten is like the yellow gold in the palette, and you can really see how reflective that is. And here we have Dreamlike. One thing I'll say about these shades is that they are really, really creamy. So I'm finding it really hard to apply it with a brush. And I'm finding that it looks a little streaky when I apply it with a brush. So I want to try something. So I'm going to take my finger, pick up some of that Dreamlight, and then I'm going to try to apply with my finger. Now that's definitely giving a lot more intensity. I would never wear my highlight this intense, but I feel like it's giving a less streaky application. I'm gonna do the same with Enlighten. Ooh, Jesus. Okay, blinding. Now imagine this on the lids. Okay. I look like an alien superstar. Okay. But you guys can see the colors. Oh, this is so pretty. Let me wipe this off, reapply my foundation, and then I'll apply the final 2 shades. Listen, the way my cheeks are set up, the way my skin is set up, all of this reapplication and unapplication is not for me. Okay, all right, let's get into the final 2 shades of this palette. Again, cleaning off my brush to get off any product. And then I'm gonna dive into Transient. Now Transient has a more, I'd say like a green blue on the, yeah, it's a green. And I don't know if I showed this, but it tells you what the color is on the back of the palette. So I'm taking Transient, that's the green one, and I am applying it to the face.
Got space to be thinking about you. You know this ain't the time for the 2 of us.
Some of the color isn't translating very well to camera, at least from what I can see in my viewfinder. So I'll see what it looks like when I edit. And then the last shade is Apparition, and this is the blue shade.
Got space, thinking about you.
And you can see here how sparkly this is. And to me, it feels very glittery. Now, I've talked to the owner of Blend Bunny, and she has confirmed that there is no glitter in this. So if you're worried about there being actual glitter in there, there's no actual glitter. It's just that the way it translates on my skin to me looks very glittery. And not as smooth as I would want it to be. So here we have Apparition. And I think you can see that blue there. And then Transient. So I'm going to leave these on for right now because I can't wipe anything off. My face hurts. And let's get into a little bit of comparison swatches. So let me zoom you guys out a little. And when I was thinking about this palette, the first comparison palette that came to mind for me was the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3. Now, Danessa has these 4 shades in the middle here that could be used on the eyes as well as the face. And these are that translucent formula. And on the back, it has kind of like what the flips are. And I thought that they so much reminded me of the shades in this palette. You see what I mean? I feel like they're super duper similar. Now, the Danessa Myricks formula is definitely on the powdery side, so I didn't get any of that creaminess. And I think because this is a more creamy formula, that is why my foundation is sticking to the shades when I apply it. Like, you can see the brown stains in here, and that's from me tapping my brush in, versus when I apply with these, there's no staining. It looks kind of brand new, and I've been using it. So I think there's a comparison shade for each one in this palette, so let's go through with that. So I'm starting off with Golden Eclipse from Danessa Myricks. This one has a golden yellow undertone, and I'm gonna go in with Enlighten from Blend Bunny. So we have Golden Eclipse and Enlighten. This is Golden Eclipse. Enlighten. Now, I think you can see how much creamier the Blend Bunny formula is compared to the Danessa Myricks. And you can also see a stronger yellow shift in blends compared to Danessa. Next, I want to compare Strawberry Moon from Danessa. And I think I'm going to compare this to a couple in here. I'm going to compare it to these 3 shades up top. So here we have Strawberry Moon from Danessa. And here we have Far Out Phenema Dreamlike. So, Far Out Phenema Dreamlike. So you can really see this is very powdery. These are almost wet. Kind of metallic looking. I'll say Phenema probably is the closest match to Strawberry Moon because Far Out definitely has a purple tint to it, and Dreamlike is more of a yellow, a rose gold. Next we have Spring Equinox from Danessa. This is the green shade, and I'm gonna compare that to the green in Blends Transient. Why did I, okay, so Danessa Blends. Spring Equinox, Transient. Again, you can see how much more metallic this is. And even though the Danessa formula is definitely more powdery, I'd say that there are no like chunky sparkles in there. The sparkles in Danessa is definitely more subtle. So if you want like softer sparkle, softer shine, Danessa gives that, in my opinion. Now, granted, you can't get this big palette anymore, but if you do have it, I did want to make sure that you saw the comparisons between both. And then lastly, I'm going to go into Blue Moon. So this is the blue shade from Danessa, and I'm going to compare that to Apparition, which is the blue shade from Blend. I love adding an S. So we have Danessa and we have Blend. And you can see the textural differences here. You can see this one's more powdery. This one is already clearly more metallic. I'm going to put this here. Blue Moon. Apparition. So here are the comparisons of all of the Danessa versus Blends. And then the last thing that I kind of want to show you guys is I want to compare this to what is my current favorite highlighter to show you all the kind of textural differences again. So this is the Casa Gaga highlight. This is one that I have been loving and reaching for. It has been, you know, my most used as of late. And this is what it looks like swatched out on my finger. So you can see it's definitely really smooth, really light. I'm going to compare that to Dream Girl from the Blend Highlighter palette. And you can see this is Dream Girl, this is Casa Gaga. They're a bit, you know, texturally. This one has more texture to it. This one is definitely a little bit more smooth. I'm going to swatch it on the back of my hand here. So this is Dream Girl from Blends. And this is the Casa Gaga highlight. Two very, very different formulas. This is definitely one that I prefer because it's a little bit smoother on the face. Doesn't emphasize texture or anything like that. And is more of a subtle shine. Like the sparkle in here is very, very subtle compared to this one, which I think is a little much for my preference. Now this is an eyeshadow though. This would be a beautiful eyeshadow. Okay, let me wipe off these swatches and then let me just give you guys my final thoughts. Okay, again, a huge thank you to Blend Bunny Cosmetics for sending me this palette in PR to review. Well, not to review. They sent it to me in PR. I decided that I wanted to review it. So huge thank you to Blend Bunny Cosmetics for sending me this palette. Now, here are my thoughts. I don't love this. You guys know I will always be very transparent, very honest on how I feel about this. And I don't love it for a couple of reasons. I think the main reason that I don't like this is because of how, honestly, it's so sparkly, it feels like I'm putting glitter on my cheeks. Like, and I've talked to the owner, like I said, and I know she said that there is no glitter in there. But the size of the sparkles in here definitely makes it feel and look like glitter on my face, and I don't like that look. I prefer something that's a little bit more seamless, a little bit more like it blends into the skin instead of leaving very harsh, alien-like lines on my face. Granted, I over-applied for this so you can see the true color, but I've been using this all week and I've realized that it's just not my cup of tea. The other thing too about this is the texture. This feels like an eyeshadow. I'm not gonna lie, it feels like an eyeshadow. My brush really struggled to pick up the product, and as you've seen, I really noticed that because it is a more, almost like a putty kind of texture, it's a little bit more wet, it's a little bit more oily, not oily, but creamy, that's the word I'm looking for. It's a little bit more creamy. I find that, one, my brush transfers my makeup from my face to this palette, which is causing discoloration in the shades already, as you can see, because my foundation is brown. So it's turning these shades brown, which really bothers me. And the transferring is one problem, but then also I feel like it's a little bit harder for me to pick up the product on a brush and then apply it to my face. And when I do apply it to my face, I find that because it is a more creamy texture, it's coming off a little streaky, to be honest. It's a little streaky when I apply it with my brush. It could be the brush that I'm using. I'll try different brushes with it. But with that, coupled with the fact that I feel like this is honestly a little glittery, is the reason why I'm not a huge fan of this. Now, I think this is a beautiful eyeshadow. I think that these shades would look really pretty on the eyes. I also think that even though these are translucent, they have enough of a punch for them to stand out on their own. So I don't think that you necessarily have to layer this on top of a base, but if you want to, you'll give it a little extra kick. But in terms of using this as highlighters, yeah, it's not for me. It really isn't for me. So I prefer the more Danessa Myricks type formula because it's a little bit more powdery. My brush can easily pick it up. It applies it to the face really well. I don't get that cross-contamination of my foundation staining the powders, which I was really, really shocked by because I don't have that with any of my other highlighters. So this is just not the type of formula that would work for me. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing the different shades. I hope that you're able to really see how the different tones, the different colors translate onto my skin tone. I know it's really hard to get it with this camera or with any camera. I did film a couple swatches for my Instagram, and I have a picture as well as a reel with the swatches on my Instagram. So if you want to see it really, really swatched out, to see the blues and the greens and the purples, check out my Instagram. Like I said, this is available now. It's $40, so if you want to pick it up, go forth and enjoy. And yeah, that's it from me. If you liked this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. If you like the content and you want to come back for more, go ahead and subscribe as well. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you think about the palette. Did you pick it up? Are you planning to pick it up? What is your highlighter formula of choice? Because I'm very curious now. And that's it. As always, I love you guys. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!